I know India now at this point of time is such a boom when it comes to luxury. It has become a market where everybody wants to explore like every best possible way they could. So now that
2.5 years,
that's amazing.
chase that brand now.
That resilience and your patience and everything comes as handy. And why I can say this, because I have been to your events myself, and I know that how particular your team is, how it is organized, how things are taken care. So of course, when you are a synonym to India's luxurious brands, and how does Jessica want to see herself, say, like 5 years from now?
Called Career Cupid, because I think my parents, and I'm so thankful for them for this, they always maintain something that work is a good thing. It puts you out there in the world, it gives you definition, and no matter whatever your strengths or weaknesses are, you are not going to hold back. You are not going to be someone who has to hide within rules, because you have nothing to hide. And this was while I was going through a very hard emotional journey. And so funnily, on Career Cupid, this page on Facebook, how you have those groups on Facebook.
Today we have this interesting personality with us. Her name is Jessica, and she's founder of Stanley Communications. We are going to talk about her personal life, her professional life, and of course how she's defined fashion industry here in India. There are many luxurious brands that she's worked with. As we see her right here, we would love to hear about her journey right from Jessica. Thank you so much for being part of this podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy and excited to be here.
Lovely. Now, I'm sure what we are going to ask you and how you will narrate is going to be very interesting for all the viewers, because I think in today's world, people are very fashion driven, and they always like to keep up with the genre, what's happening around, what's trending. You have rightly set the trends with your company, with all your resilience, hard work. So we want to hear your journey, how it began, what was your motivation, how did you reach a point where you thought that now you want to enter the boardrooms and decide, okay, this is what you want to do, and people would go by it,
So I think very interestingly, I call myself God's child, and that's the biggest point that defines my journey. Wherever I am today, whatever I have achieved, as people say, it was never the plan.
Yeah.
There was never a plan. And, I think why is because my childhood was very uncertain. It was very emotional and physically turmoil sort of childhood. I got polio when I was 22 days old. And, luckily my family had all the means to support me, to take care of me, medically, and have all sort of surgeries. But I think as just someone going through a disability or a different sort of childhood, it really takes over their mind. And, my childhood was very up and down. I felt bullied. I felt out of place. I felt very depressed as well. For me, when teenagers are sort of out partying, I was sort of dealing with clinical depression at the age of 18, and I've never really spoken about this. So there was never a plan, because a plan felt very far-fetched. There was never a thought of what do I have to do in life. It was only to sort of meet or get over one challenge after the other, clearly get over this surgery at this point, or, get over I had 18 surgeries till I was 18 years old. So that time you don't really think of a plan. It was just like, I have school to finish, etc., etc. And then I was 18, I got diagnosed with clinical depression because it really took a toll on me. And why I say I'm sort of God's child is that my life just took a U-turn from right then. It was so magical. It was so beautiful. It's so funny. I found an internship of Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
It was this page called Career Cupid, because I think my parents, and I'm so thankful for them for this, they always maintain something that work is a good thing. It puts you out there in the world. It gives you definition. And no matter whatever your strengths or weaknesses are, you are not going to hold back. You are not going to be someone who has to hide within rules, because you have nothing to hide. And this was while I was going through a very hard emotional journey. And so funnily, on Career Cupid, this page on Facebook, how you have those groups on Facebook.
Yeah.
I studied communication. I was in college in Singapore, and, Singapore at that time. And I was also struggling at that time as well. And I found this internship in the world of PR.
Right.
Till then, did I know much about PR? Not so much.
Right.
And I entered, an organization where I worked for about 2 years. And I was first person to be hired within 7 days.
Okay.
And I really like when people are complimenting me and appreciating my work. I think more than them appreciating it, it just did something within me, you know. When you've been through a lot of emotional turmoil, when you feel like you're good at something, it just gives you so much of boost and identity, what you're looking for. And I think that was just a defining point in my life, and I've never looked back. That was about 11 years ago.
Amazing. While you say this, it already gives you that goes, you know, because there are very few women that you associate with, and they come out so strong in the early battles of life. And especially with a biased industry where you are entering the boardroom, they have their own perceptions, they have their own opinions. And then you have to cut through that. Right? So that is something which is very tremendous. And when you are all together putting it the way you want to, and it's accepted because you're not looking for validation, that's where I feel your strength comes out.
No, actually, you know, validation is also, it's quite a funny thing. I've dealt with it in my life a lot.
Yeah.
Till I think I was looking for exterior validation, you will never find it.
Okay.
Such is life. I have figured this out. There will always be something about someone that doesn't fit. You know, someone could be too dark, too white, too fat, too thin, too bold, too feminine,
Right.
too opinionated, not so opinionated. There will always be something about each one of us that doesn't suit the world. Right?
That's true, yeah.
So I remember when I was looking for exterior validation, where I wanted people to like me, because I was finding what is there to be liked about me when I was dealing with so much. And I think work, appreciation, and being good at something,
Right.
and hence why everyone should find something that they're good at to do, not for money, maybe not for different reasons, but whatever that is, because when you feel validated within yourself, the world around you changes.
Yeah, and plus, you know, the motivation that you get from your family, plus, you know, the fact that, okay, you are good with your work because you're very passionate about it. So it shows, just as in your case, it shows, it reflects how you work with the brands, how you're introducing luxury, how people like to work with you. So, you know, all these definitely makes an impact. And here we want to know that what was your first big outcome finally when you decided that, okay, this is the launch I want to do today?
So again, very interestingly, Stanley is in its 9th year. And I remember when it started off literally with one person, one client.
Okay.
It was getting an X amount of, you know, rupees from my first client and paying my first salary. And that was it. And today we're a team of 112 girls only in India, and Dubai is separately. So it's just been such a beautiful journey. And I think the first 2-3 years was a lot of figuring out to do. I really believe every business or anyone trying out a new profession, a new business, any form of work should allow themselves those 2-3 years. And I've spoken about this a lot as well. You're not superhuman.
Right.
From day one, you cannot expect yourself to know what you know 9 years later.
Right.
So I think for me, the first 3 years were trial and error, figuring out what kind of client works for me, what am I able to do, what are my strengths, etc. I think 2020 was a defining point. I think one thing I've always really believed in is consistency and resilience. I don't take no for an answer.
Okay.
You know, I can't take a brand's name. But I take 2 brands, I chased them for 2.5 years. Like, I chased them down till 2.5 years, wanting just an opportunity to show my work. Did I tell them to...
What was so special about that brand?
You know, I sort of, within the first 2-3 years, when you do that trial and error, you sort of realize what your vision board is also looking at. No, you don't necessarily have to draw it down, while that might work for some. I exactly knew what my future goal is or where I want to be in 5 years. I think that was very clear for me. I wanted to work with certain kind of brands. I wanted to be in certain kind of rooms. I really well knew that. And I knew that I can do it. Maybe today I'm hearing a no, maybe 3 months later, but sometime or the other, that ball will shift and I will get that chance. And all I need is a chance to prove myself. Right.
Yeah, and now that, you know,
2.5 years,
that's amazing.
Chase that brand.
That resilience and your patience and everything comes as handy. And why I can say this, because I have been to your events myself, and I know that, you know, how particular your team is, how it is organized, how things are taken care. So, of course, when you are a synonym to India's luxurious brands, and how does Jessica want to see herself, say, like 5 years from now?
Oh, very interesting. So I think 5 years from now or 2 years from now as well, I really believe Stanley is reshaping luxury entries in India especially. I think over the last 2 years, brands reach out to us when they're entering the country. And that's a very important understanding. Is why? Because we really understood the consumer in India. We're not just saying we specialize in a media strategy or an influencer strategy or, you know, XYZ. we provide them a very holistic approach and a very reality check approach.
Right.
We draw out who is the consumer, what are the demographics like, what is tier 1, tier 2 looking like, tier 3 is growing. I think over the years, we've really broken it down and understood the market in a very deep way, which works for brands. It's because when they come to us, we're able to put down a map and say, 5 things might work. What are those 5 things? What are the benefits, pros and cons? What budgets you require? And what will really set apart your launch into India? Is because India is a very interesting point right now. We have to realize we have influx of luxury, and not just luxury, I would say international brands at every segment. You have mass international brands, you have premium to luxury international brands, you have luxury and you have high luxury as well. But also a homegrown market cannot be ignored.
True.
Right? So many of us are wearing homegrown brands. They are using makeup products, skincare products, etc., etc.
So you're focusing on that as well.
So I know, but I really believe that the consumer is focusing on all, right? So we do work with some homegrown brands as well. I think they're doing so well. But for my luxury brand, they're not just competing with other luxury brands, but they're also in the same conversation as a homegrown brand that might be doing really well or might be in a great price point, right? Today, you get a dress for an XYZ international brand for 35,000, but that's literally on the same parallel. You have an Indian brand selling for the same point, right? So you have to really understand who your consumer is, what is their lifestyle, what do they eat, shop, drink, wear, go out, who do they speak to be able to communicate to them. And I think we really focus on that.
Yeah. I know India now at this point of time is such a boom when it comes to luxury. It has become a market where everybody wants to explore like every best possible way they could. So now let's ask you that definitely PR industry looks very glamorous, right? But is it as glamorous as it looks? What is it like that happens in the back end? Is it like a war room, or is it?
You cannot imagine. You possibly cannot imagine. It's a war room, and how? Where hundreds of our team members are fighting with the external parties and third parties because, let's be honest. Yes, events are glamorous.
Yeah.
When you dress up and you have to show up. But we try to make that experience glamorous for you, for someone who's attending, right? We are the ones organizing it.
Yeah.
But one event is one marquee point in my entire calendar of a month, right? That's just one thing. And it takes a minimum of a large-scale event, to be honest, minimum of 45 to 60 days to pull off an event, and can go up to 5 to 6 months as well. This year itself, we launched Gallery Sapphire in Mumbai. Just prep work for the brand was for 8 months.
How was that moment like? It is very momentum, no doubt. So what was your feeling? What was how was the feeling entirely for the staff?
I think just super proud, and not just of ourselves, but of India.
Right.
I think
that's why I said it's momentous.
It's such a historic moment to have a brand like that, a format like that enter India with all guns blazing. They see something that maybe we also don't at this time to make such big calls, right?
Yeah.
And, to be a part of this journey, to be a part of such a brand, I've always dreamed of it. And today I'm living it. I'm very, very, very thankful.
Very fortunate, I would say. Because if that's what you had aimed, and this is what your, Stanley Communications is doing. So, of course, building your reputation with such brands is also equally important.
But, again, I would like to say, I've really believed in one thing that stood by Stanley is getting a brand versus sustaining a brand are two different things. I train my team and teach them as well. Don't just go and achieve it, but you just stick by it. Because reputation for me is everything. I built this from the scratch and up, and I want to be known as someone who delivers what they say and not just maybe sign something on.
We've seen that.
Yeah. So I really believe in putting my best foot forward. I'm a workaholic. I'm obsessed with what I do. I do it in my sleep as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I thought I was the only one who's a workaholic, but it's amazing to hear.
No.
That people actually live, they want to live their work, they want to live their dreams through and see how far they can take
I get dreams about clients.
I think really?
Yeah.
I think after I was diagnosed with a certain thing, I just got a little easy with my work. Otherwise, there was a time when my husband literally had to tell me that, okay, there are other ways also. You need to pause. Just relax.
But my husband tells me that every single day.
Okay.
He tells me that every single day. He says, you need to calm down. But I said, why? Why do I need to calm down?
I mean, he says the hustle can be, just deal with the hustle.
Yeah.
And maybe you can keep working, but have a flow. Like, don't do everything in every minute that you think of.
But
that's also people
not. Like, I think like we're in such prime years of our careers, of our lives. And I think physically at an age as well, you have a certain energy. Maybe I won't have the same energy when I'm 45, and which is nature's call. I really can't find.
But I think with workaholics, age will never be a barrier, as much as I understand.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Yeah, because I say this because I'm 40 myself. So I feel the same energy level the way I started with. Why? Because your work keeps you so happy. So you want to achieve more and more. So there's always a window that you want to look at. Okay, what's next?
Like exactly what you said. When your work keeps you happy, it's that adrenaline rush that nothing else can give you. I really feel like, I'll tell my team also today I'm going to take a day off. For example, if I'm not well, whatever. And I'll be the one calling them. And then my team will tell me, we will block you because you will not stop calling us, right? So it's just like, it gives you so much happiness that you want to keep doing it. I think what more do you want in life?
Yeah. So, time and again, we do see your page on Instagram. Now there's a certain shift. I see a change in your reels. I see the change in the management. Then, of course, how a PR is telling their story, that how they begin their day and how it ends. So this change of yours that is now reflecting, it sometimes looks very unrealistic because you just figure out, okay, this woman just stepped out in the morning and she's entering like 12 at night, which is like, wow, of course, because you're working hard. How do you manage that schedule, your personal life?
But that's my everyday life.
Okay.
I'm very fortunate to have a very supporting family. I would say supporting in-laws and sort of a system now that's, be it, having your entire wardrobe in your car or having a packet of food which has every possible thing that I might need, my portable Wi-Fi or things like that, right? Because that is my life. And I really don't believe there's work-life balance or there's balance of equal forms in a day that, I'll socialize also in a certain amount in a day and a work also. It's a very different sort of day every day. There are days when I'm working, I'm sitting with my friends as well, and there's something to do. So I will be doing it. They know this by now. I think each day is different, but usually a day lasts nothing less than 12 hours, 12 to 13 hours.
And you're good to go with that.
Yeah, I love it. I try on Sundays to just completely veg out and just order Zomato and watch TV. I try, but other days I'm very, very happy doing what I do.
Lovely. So, just before we started, you spoke about this moment where you said that it was a proud moment for India also to launch that. We'll hear the story again to know that what was the proudest moment for Stanley to introduce a luxury brand here in India. And a little bit about
I think so many proud moments.
There were,
I think 2020
orchestrated, I think, Valentino as well.
Valentino's India launch. Yeah. And I think just if I see 2025, it started with a bang with Vivian Westwood at the Gateway of India. If I be honest, that venue is a territory that is not easy. When you're playing with government regulations, when you're playing with politician securities, and Stanley was so fortunate to guest list. We did the entire guest listing of that event, and we had the Ambanis, the Adanis, the Birlas, the Poonawala sitting front row and center, all invited by Stanley. I think that speaks of our relationships as well.
Of course.
And that also speaks of the management that we had. Literally I had 32 team members on ground that day with a walkie-talkie in my hand and sort of managing it all. And I think that makes me so emotional because, it's not a ballroom or it's not a small sort of venue to play with. When you're dealing with PR just doesn't mean back-end stuff, right? When you pull off these things, every point needs to go seamlessly because you are the one that's right in the middle of it, right? The media is there for you. The sort of influential names are there for you. You're sitting right in the middle of it to make sure everything goes smoothly.
That's true.
And
it's a challenge.
It's a challenge. I think I had tears rolling down my eyes when it got over. And
because it was a successful, very successful.
It was so successful, but I think it was so momentous to have a brand of that stature come to India, collaborate with Indian textiles, have that sort of a guest list on a venue as iconic as the Gateway, and to have someone trust us blindly. I think for me that matters the most, that someone put their trust in me and I was able to uphold it. It's because I really believe, and I tell my team this as well, it's someone else's baby that they're handing over to you. So you better take care of that baby or don't take it.
We call it as a power, project.
Yeah.
Because it definitely needs a lot of teamwork. but there has to be a strategy which has to be driven by the person herself.
Yes.
So it's a power project, no doubt. With a lot of challenges.
I honestly prefer, with events in like Delhi and Mumbai as well, I might not be seen a lot because I'm someone who likes to be more sort of back in, get my hands dirty, open up a chart paper and start like figuring things out, is because to guide my team is my responsibility. I cannot expect the best from them until I am my best.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
So now we've slightly come on the bridal couture, which is Gaurav Gupta.
Yeah.
So just tell us a little bit about that.
I think so iconic what he did this year, guys. I think Gaurav Gupta is, again, such a proud moment for India to go and represent at Paris Fashion Week, have, Rihanna, Beyonce, Kim Kardashian, everyone wear it. And what a person Gaurav is. I think so creative yet so humble.
I love his collection.
It's such a nice, I think the team is so nice to work with, and what they pulled off, in Mumbai, what we pulled off together. The collection, the sort of strategy, the decor, the production was something beyond
Very world class.
It was literally putting forward what he put in Paris, right? And even more. And I think him stepping into that bridal collection again really focuses back on the Indian wedding industry. It's $1 trillion industry, right?
Yeah.
It is just growing and growing, and we have people from all over the world, Indian origin, who want to come and wear a Gaurav Gupta and wear a Manish Manora. Right? It's their lifelong dream.
Right.
So I think
No, and people gladly wear it. They love that.
they love them. We all love them. So I think with
They
Indian
look
designers,
forward to that. Yeah.
with Indian designers, we're gonna go global.
Yeah.
Someone like all of the designers like Gaurav, Manish, I feel so glad
They are global already. That's what I feel.
and I think they will
They've created a platform.
they will do global takeover. You know how we look at a Straparelli or an XYZ brand and fantasize about them. It's so good to have internationally everywhere people recognize these brands and want to wear them.
Right. Now, rephrasing or phrasing these sentences again with all these global names that you've worked with.
Yeah.
A little bit about Rene Caola. Would you like to say something on that?
Yeah.
Because it was at Milan Fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it just became it. We got a call back in January, and this is again shows you have this year. This was this year in 7 to 8 months, and they reached out to us for something different. And I think that did not work out. They had a change in opinion of, sort of logistics and all also. And I remember just staying in touch, which is again something super important. And I always told my team this as well. Maybe someone won't work with you today, but you'll be in their thoughts.
Right.
You'll be in touch. You'll have doors open for conversations. And I did that with the Rene Caola team as well, because they don't have anyone in India. And, they launched an Indian-inspired collection. That was in September. And they reached out to us to possibly curate the entire event and come up with a concept. Again, something which was a little out of our comfort zone, because when they said Milan, I said undiscovered territory. How will I do it? But that how I think God always answers for me. And I was just like, I'll go all guns blazing. We'll figure it out. I really have that approach in life. We'll figure it out and hum kar lenge.
Right.
And, I think I have a fabulous team who worked on a fabulous concept. And, my husband was a part of this as well, because he does wedding decor.
Yeah.
And I think I reached out to him because I was like, this is what we want to create.
Yeah.
Now you have to help me create that. So it was a power move to,
Of course.
to do it together.
I mean, even if two industries are coming together, so there has to be a strategy to have it. So what really helps? Is it your experience? Is it your time? Is it your HNI clients? Or is it your psychology? What is it that
I think it's a lot of your experience that matters, because the more you work, the more you're able to learn what works for what industry.
I think even the HNI doesn't work if you don't have that experience.
I think, to communicate to an HNI client also, first I need to know what I'm offering them, right? Whether this will suit. Today I reach out to you with something that doesn't align with yourself, right? You won't really answer me back. So experience and understanding of the brand, of the event, of the stature, to really understand who are the kind of people who will attend this. What does a brand like this globally communicate? First, we think any global brand that you work with, is the most important to go study what they've done in different parts of the world and study their global guidelines. Never create any presentation, any deck, any ideation without understanding that. Because for one particular event, they're not going to change their formats. They're global brands for a reason. So really study, I think research, experience, then putting together ideas and having a large team with different, different structures work on it. So, our team is very categorically divided also. We have a full media team. We have a team that only specializes in celebrities. We have a team that only does HNI and UHNI handling, and other teams as well. So then everyone comes together to give their opinion.
Right. We see that time again on your page. It reflects that. So what do India's most influential consumers you think value most today?
Experiences, privacy,
right,
and speaking to them in a way that brands sometimes lack. For Galleries Lafayette, just sharing, we built this program called FOGL. It is the Friends of Galleries Lafayette.
Right.
Now, these are people, very select few people, I would say about 35 in India all across. Now, these are ultra HNI consumers. Do they have dearth of money? No. Are they doing this for the money? Not at all. They're only doing it to be a part of something greater,
right,
to have access beforehand, to have privacy, to have exclusivity.
Right.
So I think for these sort of people, that's what matters. And
so they rush for privacy.
They rush for privacy. And just to be a part of larger conversations, for them, it's not like I want to come down to an event to get one thing free, even if that one thing is for lakhs of rupees, right? Whether that conversation really adds to who I am and what I want to take forward in my life, right? These are people that come from generational wealth or self-built wealth, right? Now today, if I reach out to an entrepreneur and say, hi, please come to my event, I'll give you 50,000 rupees gift free. That does not matter to her. If I'm saying I represent a brand that speaks about, entrepreneurship or XYZ, that really adds to their personality and value.
Something that brings value to her on the table.
That's what can add to her experience. It could be matters that they support. It could be things that they're opinionated about. It could be things that have their interests. So understanding them and their interests is also very important.
So what do you think is the biggest misconception that brands have when they're selling their luxury? Any misconception you remember of when it comes to selling luxury?
Controversial, but influencers can do it all.
Okay.
I very recently spoke about this on my Instagram as well. The word influencer has been highly used and misused.
Right. That's so true.
Highly. Right.
Yeah.
Every second person is an influencer.
Right. But how? I still fail to understand.
So do we.
Yeah.
So do we.
I mean, it's just because you post a picture, so you become an influencer. I feel if you're not associated with a great PR, if you're not getting an exposure of good, kind of events that you're going to, you're not giving anything to the masses of people who are watching or following you when you call yourself, how are you an influencer?
I think more than that also, what's your story to tell?
Right. I mean, wearing an outfit and just clicking it, not at all.
Today, one influencer might be talking about wellness. One could be an entrepreneur. One could be a chef. One could be actual deep fashion.
Right.
Someone who really breaks down fashion trends. Now today, for someone watching out there, you need to be adding something to my life as a consumer. I'm not talking as a PR person, a pure consumer, because I spend a lot of time on Instagram just as a consumer as well. I'm kind of addicted to reels. But when you watch something, am I taking away something from it? Could be fashion content, could be about global brands that I don't know about yet, or Indian brands I don't know about.
Your research is understandable. Why? Because you are there as a PR, as a person who is evolving to grow on these brands and who wants to see what is next she hasn't touched. But somebody just sitting there aimlessly, and because they feel that, okay, they've gone to an event, they click a picture and they become an influencer, is not the strike.
The consumer is very smart now. Let me break it down. So anyone and everyone now knows what's paid and what's unpaid.
Right.
I don't think it's wrong to be paid or unpaid. We are facilitators of that.
Yeah.
But with that content, are you building a story? Are you adding value? Are you conveying a point? Or are you actually putting a product and its strength forward? Really, really matters. So when luxury brands and work in India as well, which now, luckily we work with so many of them, we advise them to really build a very larger, more wholesome strategy. I really believe media platforms are so credible. We need to work with them. We need to have journalists and opinion leaders speak out for ourselves. HNIs, UHNIs, really influential voices.
Right.
Someone who's built a brand, like for example, Palak Shah, I'm such a fan, right? She's built a brand. She's an entrepreneur. So when she speaks about something, there's a credible voice I would want to believe. She's just not selling something for the sake of selling.
Right. That's how you. So how would you, what's your perception, your opinion in seeing all these luxury brands that you are working with now? So 10 years back, what were they like, and how this transition is coming here in India as a luxury brand?
I think for luxury brands now, they're focusing on, like we said, influential voices.
This new luxury.
They are the influential voices. They're focusing on HNIs, UHNIs. They really create amazing experiences. And also keeping the influencer community short, small, and more focused.
Right.
Now, when we work with
I like how people choose your influencers.
Yes, you have to. You have to, right? Not everyone works for every brand.
Yeah.
And XYZ, I work with the Zara as well, and I work with the Bulgari as well, right? It's not necessarily the audience is the same. The person who can communicate or how they can communicate is the same, right? So every brand first needs to understand, like I said, again, go back to the consumer.
Right.
Who's your consumer? What do they eat, shop, play, sport? What activity they do? Who do they talk to? Who are the peers around them? Right. And then who can actually communicate to them?
Right. But do you think there is somebody still that has been left unnoticed? So this is something which is not part of the script. But, sometimes when you go for events and there are people who say that, we do feel that we are unnoticed by Stanley and we have way more greater potential. So in your term, do you really feel that there are few people that you may have left but have way more potential?
I'm sure they would be, but
how will your team see that?
I personally do a lot of research. Like I mentioned, I spend a lot of time on Instagram. And during that time, I'll always forward at least 10 profiles to my team every day.
Okay.
They don't necessarily have to be millions of followers. But wherever we see niches or wherever we see there's some potential, we try to identify it. Of course, there might be still people that we haven't reached out to, we've not built an association yet. I would love to be associated with them. But
how do they reach out to you?
Please, on Instagram, on my personal page. I think personal Instagram is the best choice because I'm more, I think WhatsApp gets super crowded with, work groups and WhatsApp groups really come in the top. If it sounds really bad on replying on WhatsApp, I'm saying this out loud on camera. But I think personal Instagram is a great way. And I personally really like to do research. Month on month, if we say we're at least identifying 50 to 60 new profiles.
Right. Oh, you're doing 50 to 60. That's huge.
Yeah. It could be across F&B, it could be across beauty, it could be someone sitting in...
I know, I forgot. It's not just about fashion.
There are so many other dimensions. Not at all. I really try to.
Yeah, lovely. That's great. So building up team, then having the luxury portfolios in India today, then, you have to, in a way, tame your team also. Tell them what is best, what is not. How all of this is coming together with you. Like one person dealing different dimensions. It is really tough,
It's
how do you navigate?
Years of work. And I really believe...
Besides that, what do you think?
No, it's years of building those levels.
Mm-hmm.
When I started out, it was one person. Then I have also had times where my things have crashed, right? My ideas or my team building has crashed, right? I think today, 9 years later, you can say, what does an organization need? It needs clear segregation and division. Today, we have a separate beauty team, we have a separate F&B team, we have a separate FMCG and alcohol team, we have a luxury separate team, retail, fashion, content. We have a legal department, we have an HR department, we have accounts, we have finance, we have everyone today. And this journey has been a long one. Because every day you realize something else that you require as a team.
It's a learning phase. Every day there's new thing.
I'm not just a PR person, I'm an entrepreneur. When you are an entrepreneur, you have to think very different. If I was just a PR person, my thought would only be going about XYZ brand and I have to make this success.
Right.
Yes, I think that every day, but also 2 hours of my day, I think about, XYZ person is working on this brand, but I don't feel that their strength belongs here, right? And to replace this person, or I need one more person within my team, or I need some senior in my team, or I need to change this.
So there are days when you really need help also. You're looking up to someone who can actually navigate you through your challenging phase.
Honestly, I think now the team heads within my organization are sort of the first call that we make.
Okay.
I really feel like they have an equal seat on the table as me to give their opinion.
Same voice.
So what we do is we really have very open communication.
Yeah.
I think Stanley, everyone has a right.
No, I see a lot of happy faces around you because,
that's what.
When you go and interact with people, then of course you get to know through the team that, okay, they are happily working and that's how they portray it also while they speak with you.
We've had people who've been here for 7 years and, those are the people that I trust the most. I take their opinion. We have open discussions and then, yes, I have to figure it out at the end. But I have a great team of, internal leaders who help me come up with this. It's not a one-person job. It is a 110 and 12 and counting person job.
Just as you said, it started with one and eventually now you're going with 100.
Not at all. If you ever think one person can do it all, we will all crash.
So I always say it's a teamwork that comes together. So what is that one non-negotiable thing, like non-negotiable?
In what, sorry?
In terms of defining style, in terms of your work, where you cannot compromise and where, you know, if somebody wants to know, okay, can we just shift this and do this? What is that non?
I think ethics, I'm very, very ethically sort of strong. I don't try to find shortcuts. You know, I'm very like, हमने किसी का काम लिया है, तो we will do it with every bone in our body and we will not cheat them. I am very, very ethically strong and I think that sort of worked in my favor.
Yeah.
You know, we might be wrong sometimes, we might be right sometimes. Every human being is sort of figuring things out. But I think ethics is something I will never compromise.
Well, I love that when you say this, because not too many people go there. And if you're actually working with that kind of grit, then I'm sure that
I think intent, you know how they say intent has to be correct. My intent is always that I want to do my best. Otherwise, I will come up to you and tell you, I'm sorry, this is not something I can do.
So there's something that you have learned that one communicator, if they're trying to enter this India's luxury light and line, is what is that one mistake that they should not do if they're trying to touch that luxury base? I'm sure there are more people like you who are aspiring to be there,
Yes.
right? So what is that advice you would want to give?
I think hire the right agency, build the right network who understands the consumer in India. Because when you're sitting far away and we deal with a lot of global brands, you know, their opinion of India and the reality of India might differ. Someone needs to explain them how today's Indian consumer is and how diverse it is. Because when someone's sitting in a US office or a European office and we deal with them every single day, we are the communicators and the channel via which they can really understand that.
Right.
So I think the first point is before you decide, you know, before you're coming, before you establish, really first have people within India who can be your knowledge
Because
provider.
you're putting that impression on them. So first impression is the last.
Yeah, and plus someone you need who's gotten their hands dirty, right, to be able to say, you know, let me break it down for you or let me help you first understand what category are you entering, what could be the right space to enter with, what could be the right partners to, you know, peers also like far-fetched right now.
Right.
What could be the right mall or location to enter with, who could be the right partners, who could be the right advisors, investors, people that you could hire internally within your organization to build formats and logistics.
Right.
PR comes after that, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
So what's that one part of your journey where people rarely ask you about that, how your career, your strength was rooted and how you built up in this bias industry yourself? We've heard your journey. You've told us about it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there must have been one time where you thought that, okay, I can't go beyond this. You think there has been a phase or something that pulled you back in your career while you were rooting yourself?
I think not in the last 5 years at least. Not in the last 5 years. I think again, trial and error. You have a lot of emotions. You feel defeated. You feel like maybe you are not doing it correctly.
There have been moments like that.
In the first 2-3 years, there were many moments like that, you know, because you might be thriving in one part of getting a client, but you're like, oh, my accounts is not showing that. You might be losing team members at that time. But I think the last 5 years have, again, been so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm just sort of developed, I'm weirdly optimistic. I'm very, very weirdly optimistic.
Great.
You give me a situation, I'll be like, ho jayega.
Yeah. I think that works.
I'll be like, God is there, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Not saying I don't have to work hard on it and just leave it.
No, but it's just the positive side of you who feels that, okay, my experience counts in my resilience, the way I've carried the brand, the way I know how to communicate, my team knows it. So that gives you strength and power also to go ahead with other challenges that you face in life, right?
And I have the best.
It's clearly says
I have the best team.
Yeah.
Because they're so cooperative, they're so understanding, and they're my family and I'm their family. You know, we've solved things together. Like, it is a puzzle to solve for all of us.
How interesting it would be to work in a room filled with young minds, you know, talking, taking ideas, sharing your ideas that's on the platform, and what they get for you on table is also, you know.
Yeah, I love working with all of my team.
I somehow like working with people younger to my age. I don't know why, because they're dynamic. They're creative also. They bring so much to you. So through those, you want to cut your own. Yeah.
They're so fluid. They're okay to shift sort of narrative. You know, when someone, of course, with age, you become a little more firm and more, you know your ways.
Yeah, you become wise. That wisdom reflects.
Yeah.
But yeah, they bring that child also in you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your awards that you won, international, national. So tell us about that also. Audience would love to know.
I'm hoping to win an international award. I haven't won yet, but I think,
No, but winning all these luxury brands is as good as the awards too for you.
No, but I think the industry has been very kind to me over the last few years by, awards and recognizing my work in publications and supporting me and speaking about my journey. I'm very, very grateful for it. It's a nice gift at the end that you get after all the hard work that you do, that you come home to something to hold and to show your family and friends and be proud of it.
Yeah.
I have a beautiful award wall in my office.
Yeah.
Where my cabin is, and I sit in front of it. It just feels so nice.
This would have been my second question. That how do you feel that moment? But you very well described that coming back home, sharing it with your family, it gives you so much.
I think my parents are so proud, and just to see them happy and proud is such a beautiful moment itself.
And what do you say about the Gen Z HNIs now in the luxury segment?
Wow. They're very different. We're still figuring them out. I think everyone's figuring the Gen Zs out.
Yeah.
I think, again, I think one point is they're going back to physical shopping a lot.
Yeah.
They're going back to physical touch and feel. And
elaborate that a little bit for
us. I think a lot of researchers, and I end up reading a lot as well. I think millennials were very, if you think about it, when we were younger or when we were in school, technology was a wow moment for us. We discovered it. Our generation saw it come in and boom, right? So it really impressed us.
Right.
We found technology to be the coolest thing ever. Right. For Gen Zs, it's done and dusted. It's not going to impress them anymore, right? It exists, yes, they use it all day, but they want to go back to something that they haven't experienced yet.
Right.
It's human psychology.
Yeah, that's what I was.
It's just human psychology, right? We saw technology and we were just like, oh my God, wow.
Everything built up in front of us.
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
We had this Nokia phones to our DDMs, and then
what are the computers coming in front of us?
I still remember, a flashback of learning from that, like the mother of board and how to switch it on and etc. Right? So we're really fascinated by it. Yes, for Gen Zs, they haven't experienced the physical touch and feel, so they're going back to that. And I think secondly, they like communication that's built around their choices. You will see boost of luxury cafes happening around the world that are speaking the coffee and matcha language.
Right.
Because a Gen Z might enjoy coffee, they might enjoy something to eat, might enjoy something, a matcha, for example, right? Sports events are greatly growing with luxury brands as well.
Recently, I think the pickleball,
paddle, golf, could be tennis, could be anything, right?
Yeah.
So Gen Zs really communicate with experiences.
Yeah.
You can't directly go and say, hi, buy this product, right?
Right.
Because it's not something new for them. It exists. I won't get it in India. I'll get it from here.
Yeah.
They're well traveled at a very young age. They're well exposed. Their parents have it all, right?
Right.
So what will really tie them in the conversation is the experience the brand can offer.
I get that. I think we could only get that kind of vision from a person who's handling this.
Yeah.
Because of course we see all of them with the same eye. But when you are on the floor dealing with them, then you know better that who is seeing it from what perspective. And
but we're also still figuring out the Gen Zs there. We'll also take some time.
I will still take us as mature. I'm not saying they're not, but that's how we've seen ourselves.
Yeah.
So, So finally, how does Jessica want to be defined for the India's luxury fashion or luxury brand, the way she brings it up? That one word or maybe one line that tells your story.
I really believe this, again, with God's blessings. Over the next few years, Stanley Communications will be synonymous to luxury in India.
Yeah, it is already. That's how we see it.
And really, even more, I really believe in the next few years, any and every brand to come would want to work with us, is because of the work that we're putting in to build our research and the work that we're putting in for our teams to be equipped to work on that. And I think as a person, I would want to be defined as someone who can put forward my story and inspire people that nothing is impossible.
That's what I want to summarize this podcast here only. Your journey has been amazing. I'm sure you may be one of those influential names here in India who's dealing with the luxury brands and bringing it up not only in India, but you're doing events outside India too, which is phenomenal. And when you deal with influencers, I would say that you're trying to create an influence and has already created influence on a lot of brands and people who are viewing you today. So we proudly say that with your certain, when you were growing up in your growing age, you had to face some challenges because of your own things that you were facing. You still took them, with a beautiful mindset. You still tried to grow yourself the way you wanted to see. And today your family is very much proud, and so is your team that works with you. So it's amazing to have you here. It is good to know your story, and I'm sure it's going to, my viewership, I'm sure they're going to be super impressed with the kind of work that Stanley is doing. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
And thanks again for being part of the
Thank you so much. I just want to end on saying, don't be scared of challenges. If I go back to my younger self, I wouldn't want to trade how my life went at all. Like at all. Because every moment of sort of pain or challenge or learning defines you as a person. And that reflects in how you deal with people.
That I understand more now.
It's sort of, it's my journey that has led me to be a certain kind of human being. Entrepreneur profession is much later, but first you are the human being that you are, and then you can build on it.
And I also feel that there are certain challenges and phases that come in your life. They always teach you something. This is what I can say for myself, because there are difficult phases when you feel that, okay, this was something which I was just doing, and now it's getting so difficult. So, there's a learning lesson out of it, and you come out even better as a winner.
You really do. You grow as a person.
Yeah, you grow. Just as I use the term wisdom, that's what I feel for myself now, honestly.
So please don't be scared of challenges and be weirdly optimistic. Everything is going to work out in life.
Yeah, I love the part that you have to be weirdly optimistic and positive about it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.